Hello, my name is Sarah, and today I'll be reviewing the one, the only, drum roll please, bum, bing, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. Oh my god! Yeah. I wonder if there's like a little short abbreviation for this, like, ACOTAR and stuff, but who knows. So, yeah, for those who don't know, this book, amazing as it is becoming a movie and will be released September 30th, directed by Tim Burton. This is Halloween, bum, 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 bum. So, yeah, that's happening. For non-spoilers, it's like a supernatural time-traveling combo, which is cool, like really, really cool. And so, yeah, a young boy named Jacob, who watched his grandfather get killed, finds out that the stories his grandfather, Abraham Portman, told him when he was a child were actually real. And he meets all these cool kids who have peculiar abilities and their headmistress, Miss Peregrine. So, in doing so, he figures out that there's these villains and creatures that are trying to hunt down the peculiars and the women that take care of them. And Jacob's the only one that can see them. So, that's as non-spoiler as I can get. I will talk about a little bit of the trailer because now I've read the book. But until then, for non-spoilers who haven't read it, go read it, talk about it. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. And I can't wait for the movie. So, bye, non-spoilers. This is Halloween, bum, 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 bum. I really like that song. So, the cover. Yes, when I first saw this cover, I was wondering, why is there a girl just standing there? But, take a closer look. Because, yeah, she's not standing. She's levitating. So, yes, Jacob Portman. A little grandson who loves his grandfather's stories until he found out that they weren't real and that his grandfather had fled home because it was during World War II and that he joined the army, and these stories were like his version of telling his tragic life story. So he's now 15 and he saw his grandfather get killed by what he assumed is a monster. Everyone thought it was a pack of dogs, and when Jacob doesn't believe that, they think he's going crazy, so he sees a therapist, which helps him, in a way, makes him think that, yeah, maybe this was true, maybe what I saw was just a figment of my imagination. And so he's even given up on trying to figure out the cryptic message his grandfather gave him before dying, until his aunt gives him a book written by Emerson, which his grandfather said, find the letter, find Emerson, tell the bird. Yeah, the bird. And so he finds a letter in the book of Emerson, and it's a picture of an old lady, like a black still photo, her standing like this, with a pipe, Sherlock Holmes style. And there's a letter written by Miss Peregrine. So, yes, maybe Abe's stories weren't really fake. Jacob managed to convince his parents, along with a therapist who helped convince the parents as well, to go to the island where his grandfather was raised. The only main attraction there is a museum of a bog boy that was found in the bog, completely almost restored-ish like, because he's still like a kid. There's only one phone in the entire island. Jacob finds the house. It's been bombed out from the bombs from September 3rd, 1940. And he manages to find a local who's lived there long enough and learn that his grandfather was the only survivor of the orphanage house, which is why he decided to go fight in the army. So yeah, Jacob thinks his search is over. He lets his dad do his whole bird watching thing because his dad wants to do a bird book on the native birds on the island, until Jacob sees a peregrine in his bedroom. That's not strange, is it? he goes back to the house and he finds more photos of the ones his grandpa showed him, and it's more of the children that he basically grew up looking at. So like, you know, he sees these photos and then he notices that he looks up and that there's children watching him. And one says like, "Abe, is that you?" It's one of the children from the pictures. And he's like, "No, I'm Jacob Portman. I am his grandson." And like, scat. They run. Jacob follows the girl. He follows her into a cave, loses her, comes back out. The town has more horses and are a little weirdly dressed. September 3rd, 1940. Modern day boy time travels back to World War II era. Rules about time traveling. Know when and where you're time traveling so you can disguise yourself. No one gave him the rule book on that one because he looks like himself back then and everyone assumes he's a spy. I would too. So they chase him. He manages to give them a slip and the girl from the house takes him prisoner and they go back to the house, which is now completely restored back in his glory days. And there he meets Mrs. Peregrine, who expected him, and it's like, yes, the stories your grandfather said were true. So the girl who took him hostage, as she would say, "You're my prisoner," is Emma. She can control fire. Take that, Katniss. And was the girl who would send Abe letters making his father and aunts think the grandfather was cheating. He wasn't. And so we meet Millard, my favorite of the team, because it's like, I would like to dub it, the Invisible Man before the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Yes, if he's not wearing clothes, he's completely invisible, which she really doesn't wear much. She only wears a hat. So, careful where you're walking. And we meet Fiona. She's considered a wild girl looking because she's all roughed up looking and she can control plants. But they have a cool sculpture grass garden with all these cool animals and a little garden version of Adam pointing to the sky. We meet Olive. Hello, levitating girl. We meet Bronwyn, who is the strong girl, and we get to see her brother Victor, but he died, but he's still there in the loop. And we meet Hugh, who has the bees inside him and can control, tell them where to go and stuff. And Enoch, it's a little weird, but I like him. He can make homunculi, which are little clay creatures. As long as he puts animal hearts or so in them, then he can control them. And we have Horace, a proper young Englishman who's actually a teenager and who can see visions. So Miss Peregrine, she's called a Yeburn, who is a woman who can not only turn into a bird form, but can control loops, and they are the ones that look after the peculiar children. So they have been living in September 3rd, 1940 for years. Some of them are in their 80s. Enoch especially is past his 100-year marker. So they can't leave the loop. If they do, all those ages will come back on them and they'll resort to the age that they really are. So we find out that Jacob is a peculiar, just like his grandfather, because he can see monsters, aka hollow gas. They were peculiars who wanted to perfect immortality, and in doing so they caused an explosion in Siberia. This is not Chernobyl, because we know how that happened. And they turned into these creatures with tentacles coming out of their mouths, and they love to eat peculiars. And if they eat enough, they resume to their human form without pupils. So they just have white eyes, and they're called whites. And Jacob suspects that there's one on the island because there's a new bird watcher trying to make another book, I wouldn't say another, but a bird book, just like his father. And Jacob has a feeling that he's no good. And the sheep on the island start dying. And when the man who takes care of the museum is mysteriously killed, while everyone thinks it's a freak accident, Miss Peregrine puts all the children on martial law, as Jacob would say. And if he wants to know about what really happened to the man who runs the museum, Emma to do her fire, Enoch to raise the dead, aka the dead man, and Bronwyn for her strength. They sneak out, go back to the modern day at night, and resurrect the man. Who, when he comes back alive, he thinks that it's the bog boy who killed him, when it turns out it's really the Hollow. And when they turn around, they see the bird watcher with a gun pointed at them, and he is a white. He's Dr. Golan, the therapist that's been with Jacob all this time. Yes, and so they find that out. He knows where Miss Peregrine is because he's after the Yeburns, since the Whites and the Hollows want to recreate the incident in Siberia, but use the Yeburns so they can see if it'll work out this time. So Dr. Golan leaves Jacob and the team in with the Hollow. Bronwyn, thank you very much, with her strength, manages to help them escape and brings down the cabin. And they go their separate ways, Emma and Jacob luring the Hollow away from the others as they will go to war Miss Peregrine. Jacob kills it. It's an accidental kill nevertheless. And they go back into the loop. But it hasn't restarted. And so when the bombs that fell and just stopped in midair and it would go all the way back to the beginning of the day, that hasn't happened. The bombs fell and it hasn't restarted. They go to the house and they find out that Miss Peregrine, in order to protect the children who were being threatened by Golan, turned into a bird form, and her and her Yeburn sister who came to warn them, they get taken, and because Miller's invisible, he follows them. Smart plan, except for he gets shot when they try to rescue Miss Peregrine and the other bird lady. So Jacob, Millard, Emma, and Bronwyn, they try to rescue them. Miller gets shot. Bronwyn uses parts of a ship from a shipyard to use as a shield and runs right into Dr. Golan. Charge! And Jacob manages to get the gun. But while they're in the lighthouse, Dr. Golan throws the cage of the Yeburns overseas. And he and Dr. Golan, they fight over the gun. Emma sets him on fire. Sorry, Katniss, you can't do that. And while he's on fire, guess he didn't know stop, drop, and roll. He tries to kill Emma, but then Jacob shoots him. He's going to need another therapist because I don't think that's going to go well, And so Dr. Golan's shot, falls over the railing and down into the ocean. Emma and Jacob try to go rescue the cage, which has the Yeburns in it, but they end up on a U-boat. Now let's see. Which country during 1940 had U-boats? I wonder. Germans, aka Nazis. We have Nazi whites. Yes. So, a soldier takes the cage, and there's only one bird in it. It's not Miss Peregrine, it's the other Yeburn, and leaps with her. Jacob and Emma rescue Miss Peregrine, but she's stuck in her bird form. And so they figured they need to go to another loop because this one's not going to restart, and see if they can find anyone that can help Miss Peregrine, so they can go rescue the other Yeburns before the experiment begins, because it is the vision that Horace saw of the sky filled with ashes. So either the experiment's going to fail and a bigger explosion's going to go off, or it's going to succeed and all the humans will be enslaved. Simple as that. So Jacob goes back to modern day to try to write a letter to his dad saying he's going to leave. The dad finds him and he's like, We're gonna find you a real therapist, not that crackpot, and you're not leaving the house until we know you're well. Hello. Enter Emma, Olive, and Millard. Yeah. They're like, your son's not crazy. Look, she can fly. I can hold fire. You see that cup in the air? That's a boy holding it. The dad. I'm just going back to bed. But Emma leaves him a photo of her and Abe and says that son's brave and that she apologizes for all the trouble she did in the past and that they will try to come back in one piece. So at the end, they bury Victor, who I thought was going to come back in the end. Like, they're going to resurrect him. He's going to be part of the team. Didn't happen. And they get in little rowboats. Bronwyn takes a little camera, this little 1940s flash cameras, takes a picture of the team, and they see ships in the distance, presumably Nazi ships. So at the end, they paddle faster. And that was Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. If it was, amazing. They have these cool little pictures, like here's Horace, as they said, the little Englishman. And yeah, again, my favorite character was Millard because he's funny, sarcastic, and invisible. Jacob and Emma have a relationship, even though he sometimes reminds himself that she was his grandfather's lover, teenager-wise. And yeah, loved it. Kind of like, I consider my first time traveling book, so nice start to this type of genre. Always love supernatural. So yeah, saw the trailer. That's what got me to get this out of my closet because I've been sitting on it for quite some time. And now I can see the little changes they're gonna make, but some maybe I can live with. One, Emma, she's gonna have Olive's ability, and Olive gonna have her ability. Don't know how that's gonna work out. Looking forward to it. Horace, he can project things out of his eye. I don't know. Samuel Jackson, he's gonna be in there, sadly. But thankfully, he's not going to be a therapist because that'd be a sad way to go out, getting shot by a 15-year-old and plummeting to the ocean and never being found again. If he does die, he better go out with a flare, and this will explain the whole Avengers thing with his little screwed up eye. Miss Peregrine is played by the one and only Eva Green. Either I pronounce it Eva, some people might pronounce it Eva. I think it's Eva. Yes, Miss Eva Green. Might know her from, Casino Royale, one of the early movies, or 300 as the main antagonist, or those who like TV shows. Penny Dreadful. Yeah, 1800 London with the Penny Dreadful stories like Dracula, Dr. Frankenstein, Dorian Gray, and The Wolfman. Eva Green's in there. She's an amazing actress. Can't wait to see her playing as Mrs. Peregrine. So, it might be good. I go in non-judging with an open mind and to movie, book, or in this case, book movie adaptations. We had the whole Harry Potter series. We had the Twilight series, Hunger Games, Divergent. So, yeah. And I hope this is good because this is Tim Burton, people. So, yeah, if you have any crazy theories on what's going to happen in the movie, or if you have your own opinions on the book, just leave your comments down below. I would love to find out what you think, and hopefully y'all get to go see the movie because I know I will. So, yes, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. 5 out of 5 stars from me. If you liked it, I'm glad. If you don't, what you gonna do? So, my name is Sarah, and bye!